What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Ready Football Podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Brennan.
I'm Logan.
And the little hiatus is over. We're back.
Yes, we are.
And it's not football tonight, but we do got a pretty good... but that's not the meat of our program tonight, if you want to call it that. But it is going to take a while for us to get through what we got tonight, so we can't get too deep into some of the football news. Because I know how you and I get off track. It's been well documented on this podcast before.
You don't gotta call me out, alright? But yeah, we will cover some of free agency.
There's been some off-season moves, some pretty good ones. And then after we cover the free agency, we're going to be going through and filling out our March Madness brackets with you guys. So when you see this, or listen to it, I should say, feel free to do your brackets alongside. I just tossed my pen. Fill yours out as as we're filling ours out. Let us know who you think is going to the Final Four, who's going to, Sweet 16, Elite 8, who's your natty pick, who's your natty favorite. We were just talking before the podcast, there's no perfect brackets. That's why the pool for the bracket challenge is so high, but it's always fun to go through and fill it out, so we figured we're going to fill it out with you guys listening. So what do we got free agency?
Free agency.
We've had some pretty big moves.
We have.
Where do we even start?
I'm just going to start at the top. It is starting us with the AFC East.
Okay.
So Buffalo Bills. I will try to be as quick with this, with pronouncing the names correctly. Once I start talking a little fast, I can't promise that. So, to get into the Buffalo Bills, they have agreed to a new 6-year deal with Josh Allen worth $330 million with $250 million guaranteed. They signed a 1-year contract with Darrellton Evans. Running back re-signed Ty Johnson to a 2-year, $5 million. Signed fullback Reggie Gilliam to a 1-year deal. Receiver Josh Palmer, formerly on the Chargers, signed with the Buffalo Bills on a 3-year deal, $36 million with $18 million guaranteed. Receiver Khalil Shakir, I'm pretty sure he was with the Saints. He signed a... Nope, I lied. He was on the Bills last year.
Wow.
Yeah. He signed a 4-year extension worth up to $60.2 million, including $32 million guaranteed at signing. Signed a 1-year deal with offensive guard Kendrick Green. Signed Joey Bosa to a 1-year deal worth $12.6 million and $12 million guaranteed. So, out of his contract, $0.6 million is not guaranteed.
Wow.
And that's for arguably one of the best edge players in Joey Bosa. They also signed another edge, Michael Hochet, to a 3-year deal. Edge Greg Rousseau to a 4-year deal, $80 million extension. Defense tackle Larry Oboji signed a 1-year deal. They re-signed DeMar Hamlin. Moving on to the Miami Dolphins, they signed Zach Wilson to a 1-year deal. Running back Alexander Madison, the guy that stepped up out in San Fran when McCaffrey was hurt, signed a 1-year. They got a couple offensive linemen re-signed or signed. couple linebackers. KJ Britt's probably the biggest one name-wise. They got Arnie Burns. Couple safeties and a punter. New England got Joshua Dobbs, quarterback, on a 2-year deal. Receiver Matt Collins. Tight end Austin Cooper. Offense tackle Morgan Moses. Defensive line Milton Williams, coming off of a Super Bowl win with the Eagles. Marcus Epps. Safety Carlton Davis, safe corner. Robert Spillane. I want to say in like the first 24 hours or something, New England went out and dropped almost $200 million or $1 billion. Like, they went out and dropped a whole bunch of money within the first 24 hours or whatever, and it was crazy. The Jets signed a 2-year, $40 million deal with $30 million fully guaranteed, including $15 signing bonus and $5 million base salary, with quarterback Justin Fields, reuniting him and Garrett Wilson. No. What's that receiver's name? Wilson. Yeah, Garrett Wilson, right?
Yeah.
Reuniting them. They were teammates back at Ohio State, so that should be interesting. They
I forgot about that.
It was taking you a minute. Other than that, they really haven't signed anyone. They got a couple offensive linemen, a linebacker, a D lineman, a corner, a couple safeties, a running back / kick returner. AFC North, Baltimore Ravens signed Cooper Rush.
Wow.
Yeah. What I say? Start going a little fast, and they also got receiver DeAndre Hopkins. Tylan Wallace, a receiver, re-signed. They got a fullback, Patrick Ricard, to re-sign. Ben Cleveland and Robert Stanley, both offensive linemen, they re-signed. Cincinnati Bengals signed Jamie Perine to a 2-year deal worth up to $3.8 million. Jamar Chase, receiver, agreed to terms on a 4-year, $161 million extension. T. Higgins agreed to terms on a 4-year, $115 million. Earlier this offseason, Higgins had the non-exclusive franchise tag placed on him for the second straight year. They re-signed Mike Gesicki, tight end. They re-signed Tanner Hudson, a tight end. Re-signed Cody Ford, offensive lineman. Couple edge player, defensive end, and a defensive linebacker all re-signed. They signed TJ Slaton, defensive lineman, and they also got a long snapper and a linebacker to sign, and re-signed Marco Wilson, a corner. Cleveland Browns, a lot shorter than most of these other people. They traded with my Eagles to acquire Kenny Pickett in exchange for QB DTR and a 2025 5th-round pick, number 164. They signed a offensive tackle. They signed a 4-year extension that includes $123 million guaranteed and has an average per year salary of $40 million, which ties Myles Garrett in with the Browns for the next 6 years, and also includes a no trade clause. They signed a couple defensive linemen, and linebacker Devin Bush signed with the Cleveland Browns. Pittsburgh Steelers got Mason Rudolph to come back. They took Kenneth Gainwell from us. Sad to see him go. They made a trade with Seattle to get DK Metcalf in exchange for a 2025 second-round pick, number 52, and a late-round pick swap. Metcalf is signing a 4-year, $132 million extension with Pittsburgh. They also got a Fort Wayne native to re-sign with them on a 2-year deal. I'm going to pronounce his last name all wrong.
Skoranek.
Yeah, there we go. That Carol hook up with you guys. Scotty Miller also signed. He's a receiver. They got a tight end and 2 defensive linemen. A couple corners, and one of those corners being Big Play Slay. Also, sad to leave that man, or see that man go. Hopefully we can bring him back before he retires. He did only sign a 1-year deal, so did Kenneth Gainwell. Who knows? We may see them back in an Eagle jersey. We may not. AFC South, Houston Texans got re-signed a running back, traded for Christian Kirk with the Jags in exchange for a 2026 7th-round pick. They re-signed Derek Barnett, Daryl Taylor, Mario Edwards. They got Sheldon Rankins to sign, Ronald Darby to sign. They agreed to a 3-year, $90 million extension, which includes $89 million guaranteed. So just $1 million of that contract is not guaranteed. So he's going to be staying in Houston for a little bit. The Texans also traded for CJ Gardner-Johnson from my Eagles, acquired along with a 2026 6th-round pick for offensive guard Kenyon Green and a 2026 5th-round pick. Also, sad to see him go. Both times we've had him on our team, he plays with us for a season, balls out, and then we get rid of him. Really wish he would have stayed. We didn't trade him. He's a hell of a player in the backfield of that defense. So, Houston fans, you are getting a good safety who will make big plays for you. Moving on to the Indianapolis Colts. Oh boy. They signed a 1-year, $14 million deal with former Giants and former Vikings practice squad quarterback Daniel Jones.
Yeah, that's a wild one.
Because they really think he's good competition for Anthony Richardson. Oh my gosh. You guys are delusional. Alright, anyway. We won't be stuck on that too long. They also signed running back Khalil Herbert. Dustin Dillon re-signed. Then they got a center, a defensive lineman, and a couple corners and safety. Jaguars got Nick Mullen to sign a 2-year deal, a receiver Dayum Brown, tight end Hunter Long, another tight end corner Jordan Lewis, safety Eric Murray. Titans got Brandon Allen, quarterback, to sign with them, receiver Van Jefferson, who won a championship with the Rams. A few offensive linemen: Dan Moore Jr., Blake Hance, Kevin Zeitler. I know he played in Cleveland. He's a really good offensive guard. Corey Levin. They got safety Xavier Woods. That's really about it. AFC West. The Broncos got quarterback Jarrett Stidham to resign. Receiver Trent Sherfield signed. They got Evan Ingram, tight end, who formerly played on Jacksonville. Linebacker Dre Greenlaw. Couple safeties, a long snapper. Kansas City got Gardner Minshew, Bailey Zappi to sign. They re-signed Kareem Hunt, signed running back Elijah Mitchell. Hollywood Brown re-signed. Juju re-signed. Jalen Moore and Trey Smith signed with them. They got linebacker Nick Bolton to re-sign. The Raiders traded for Geno Smith in exchange for a 2025 third-round pick, number 92. They got running back Raheem Mostert, Alex Chapa, offensive guard. Max Crosby signed a 3-year extension worth $106.5 million with $91.5 million guaranteed. Edge Malcolm Kuntz re-signed. Eric Stokes, corner, signed a 1-year, $4 million deal. The Chargers re-signed Taylor Heineke. Najee Harris signed a 1-year deal with them. Jalen Reagor is re-signing with them. Mike Williams is going back to the Chargers on a 1-year deal. Offensive guard Makik Becton. Pretty sure he's offensive guard for the Eagles. Yep. We lost him. Hopefully he does well with the Chargers. Khalil Mack signed. Dante Jackson, a corner, signed. That's about it. Moving on to the NFC. The Cowboys got Miles Sanders to sign. Javonte Williams to resign. Sign there. Paris Campbell agreed to terms. Dante Fowler Jr., Robert Jones, Peyton Turner, Salomon Thomas, Kenneth Murray Jr., Kiara Elm, Marquise Bell, CJ Goodwin. They also re-signed Cavante Turpin. The Giants re-signed Tommy DeVito, Darius Slayton, Chauncey Golston signed a 3-year deal. Chris Board signed a 2-year deal with them. Safety Javon Holland signed a 3-year deal, $45.3 million as a safety, which includes $30.3 million in guarantees. Eagles, like we said, traded Kenny Pickett away along with a 2025 5th-round pick for DTR. He looked like he couldn't play football when he was in Cleveland, so hopefully he can turn it around, be a decent backup if we need him. Saquon Barkley signed a 2-year extension worth $41.2 million in new money with $36 million guaranteed at signing and $15 more in incentives. We also got A.J. Dillon, a running back. Brennan, think about that running game. Call our running backs and Jalen Hurts big thigh squad or something, because they all three have really giant thighs and they all squat at least high 5, low 600s.
Oh yeah.
You thought that running game was nasty last year? Ooh, I'm excited. I'm excited to see how that turns out. We also signed a couple tight ends. Lane Johnson agreed to a 1-year contract extension through 2027. The deal adds $8 million over the next 2 seasons and an additional $30 million in guarantees. We traded with the Texans and got Kenyon Green. I already said that trade. I won't say it again. We got a couple edge players. We re-signed Zach Bond on a 3-year, $51 million deal with $34 million guaranteed. We also got Adoree Jackson. Does that name ring a bell to you?
Yeah, I remember his name.
Corner, really quick. I think he came out of the Pac-12.
I think it was Washington.
I was thinking it was like Arizona or Arizona State.
Or no, that was USC.
Was he USC?
Yeah.
Yes, he was. He ran a really quick 40, so hopefully he can do some good things in the defense with Vic. The Commanders got Marcus Mariota to resign, Jeremy McNichols to resign, KJ Osborne to resign. They traded with the 49ers and got Debo for a 5th round pick, number 147. Tight end Josh Bates and Zach Ertz both re-signed. They traded for Jeremy Tunzel. They re-signed Trent Green. Re-signed their center and got a few edge players. Re-signed Bobby Wagner. And damn, still got like the whole NFC to do. Chicago, they really have but haven't done anything. They got Genoa Jackson from the Rams in a trade. They traded for Joe Tooney. They got a center, Drew Dahlman. I'm pretty sure he was with the Saints, if I believe correctly. They got former Atlanta Falcons defensive tackle Grady Jarrett on a 3-year deal. The Lions, Kyle Allen, Tim Patrick, either signed or re-signed. Marcus Davenport re-signed with them on a 1-year deal. And that's about it for them. The Packers agreed to a 4-year deal with offensive guard Aaron Banks. Re-signed Isaiah McDuffie. Agreed to a deal with Nate Hobbs, which, if you remember a couple seasons ago, I believe, you remember that Raiders player that caught like the one-handed pick six wide open, and it was like behind him like this.
Oh yeah.
I'm 90% sure that's him. So maybe he can make some of those plays at Lambeau. Minnesota, Aaron Jones re-signing with a 2-year deal. Jordan Mason acquired in a trade. With the Niners, Ryan Kelly agreed to a 2-year deal. Will Fries signed a 5-year deal. Jonathan Allen, defense tackle Javon Hargrave, linebacker Eric Wilson, corner Brian Murphy. Harrison Smith returns for his 14th season, all with Minnesota after agreeing to a 1-year deal. It replaces his existing deal. The new contract is worth up to $14 million and includes a base pay of $10.25 million. NFC North, Falcons signed Jake Matthews. I'm pretty sure Jake Matthews got drafted by Atlanta. Yeah, he signed a 2-year extension. That's really about it for them. Andy Dalton re-signed with the Panthers. The Panthers got Rico Doyle, formerly on the Cowboys. J.C. Horn gets extended by 4 years. Saints got Justin Reed on a 3-year deal from the Chiefs. Re-signed Chase Young. Cam Jordan returning for his 15th season, all with New Orleans after agreeing to revise his existing contract. Jack Stoll was formerly on the Eagles, signed a 1-year deal with them. Jawan Johnson re-signed with them. The Bucks re-signed Chris Godwin. They signed Sterling Shepard from the Giants. Levante David re-signed. Anthony Walker Jr. signing there. AFC West. Arizona is getting Jacoby Brissett. Zay Jones, a receiver. Offense tackle Kelvin Beachum. Offense guard Evan Brown. Edge Josh Sweat from the Eagles on a 4-year deal. The Rams signed Jimmy G, agreed to restructure a contract with Matt Stafford. Running back Ronnie Rivers agreed to a deal. The Rams also got Devontae Adams on a 2-year deal. Receiver Tutu Atwell is re-signing on a 1-year deal. Niners signed Mac Jones. They re-signed Kyle Juszczyk. Demarcus Robertson is signing a 2-year deal there. Seattle got Sam Darnold on a 3-year deal, $100.5 million with $55 million guaranteed and $37.5 million in year 1. Cooper Kupp signed with Seattle. Marquise Valdes-Scantling is signing with Seattle, which I saw a weird fact, and I am disappointed in myself. I did not save it, but it's like the past 4 or 5 years, the quarterback that won the MVP had him as one of his receivers.
Really?
Josh Allen just did it this past season. Mahomes did it a couple seasons. There was someone else. That's really about it for them. And thank goodness that wraps up free agency because that was a lot of talking.
Yeah, I thought you were just going through the key trades that happened, not every single one of them.
Well, I was trying to cover like all the big names, and then I just got carried away, and then I hated myself for saying every single one. But hey, it is what it is. So
that wraps up free agency.
Yeah, I got my talking out
and
the way.
And this is the end of the episode now. Thanks for I'm joking.
Oof. Oof, oof, oof.
All right, so now switching gears, like I said earlier in the podcast, we got our March Madness brackets ready to go. We're gonna fill them out on the show and go game by game. So you'll hear all of our picks. You'll hear our Final Four picks, national championship matchup, and national championship winner. Granted, this isn't the only bracket that I'm doing. I've already done an entry or two on the CBS Sports Bracket Challenge. I've already got a bracket filled out for the one at work. I've already got one. I've already got two actually for my family group chat. I take this very seriously.
I know you do, and that's why I did all the talking for I almost said Seattle because I'm looking at them still. Free agency. So you go ahead, do most of the talking, and I will.
Oh, we're going through this together. This ain't just me.
Well, you're doing most of it.
Oh. All right. So which quadrant you want to start in?
We can just start with the Auburn game and
All
just
right.
work our way down.
So I'm assuming you're going to take Auburn against either Alabama State or St. Francis.
Yeah. Auburn, I do know, is one of the best teams in the nation this year. So,
yeah. Their average age is like 23 years old.
it's young, but also kind of old at the same time.
That's old for college. What do you
know.
mean?
And that just shows, honestly, how NIL has changed.
COVID year too.
COVID, NIL, like the past couple years has just dramatically changed college football, college basketball.
College sports as a whole.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
So,
all right. Louisville and Creighton, 8 and 9.
I'm going to go Louisville.
Really? I'm taking Creighton. I'm going to take Creighton to face Auburn in the round of 32. All right, Michigan and UC San Diego, 5 and 12 matchup. Obviously going to be Michigan.
I don't know, because there's one 5 and 12 game, it seems like every year, that the 12 comes out and just dominates.
Just about, yeah. But Michigan just won the Big Ten tournament title, so.
But we've also seen what they can be against your Boilermakers when they have, 22, 24 turnovers.
Oh, yeah.
They're not
team,
really
though.
a disciplined team from what I've seen. Like,
not necessarily.
so,
But they've also gotten hot at the right moment, so I'm giving the nod to Michigan.
I'll probably give it to them too. Those 5-12 matchups I do not like.
Well, there's the 4v13 matchup, Texas A&M and Yale. I'm going to take Texas A&M.
I think so.
And then Ole Miss versus the winner of Texas and Xavier. The 6 and 11 matchup. Well, first, I'm going to say Texas wins the play-in. So I'm going to say it's Ole Miss versus Texas. And then I'm going to give the nod to Ole Miss.
I'm going to take Xavier over Texas. And I think I'll take Ole Miss. Because
Fair.
I think I've heard good things about them.
And we got the 3 versus the 14, Iowa State versus Lipscomb.
I'm going to take Iowa State.
I think so too. And then the 7 versus the 10, Marquette and New Mexico.
I think I'm going to take New Mexico.
I'm going to roll with Marquette.
New Mexico has a better record. Seated lower. It could be an upset.
It could be. Crazier things have happened in March. 2 versus the 15, Michigan State versus Bryant. Give me Sparty.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. And do you want to finish this quadrant, or do you just want to go all the way down?
We're going to just go all the way down.
All right. So now, I don't even know which region this is.
I'm not sure, but I'm going to take Florida over Norfolk.
Yep, the 1 versus the 16. And then the 8 versus the 9, UConn versus Oklahoma. That's actually a game that could be interesting.
I think I'm going to go Oklahoma. UConn hasn't been their self.
They haven't, but I'm still going to give the nod to them. So I'm going to take UConn. And then the 5 versus the 12, Memphis and Colorado.
Guess give me Memphis.
I agree. And then Maryland and Grand Canyon. This is the 4 versus the 13.
I'm going to take Maryland.
Smart. And then the 6 versus the 11, Missouri and Duke. Or Drake. Sorry, not Duke.
Record-wise, I want to take Drake. I think I'm going to.
I'm going to stick Missouri. And then the 3 versus the 14, Texas Tech and UNC Wilmington.
I'm going to just take Texas.
Texas Tech, I agree. 7 versus the 10, Kansas and Arkansas.
Kansas.
I like Kansas in that too. And then the 2 versus the 15, St. John's, Rick Pitino.
Give me St. John's.
And Omaha. Yeah, I'm going to roll with St. John's. All right. How do you want to fill out the next round? Or do you want to switch to the other side and fill out the first side?
We're going to just finish this side.
Finish the one we just started?
Yep.
All right. So back to the top. Auburn and Creighton in the round of 32.
I have Auburn and Louisville. And
I have Auburn and Creighton.
I'm going to take Auburn.
I am as well.
For me, Michigan and Texas A&M.
Could be an interesting 4-5 matchup.
I'm going to give it to A&M.
I'm going to stay Michigan. And then we have the 6 versus the 3, Ole Miss and Iowa State.
Give me Ole Miss.
I'm going to stay Iowa State. And then the 7 versus the 2, Michigan State and Marquette.
Michigan State for me.
I agree. Although, do not sleep on Marquette. They are a good team. So if Marquette upsets Michigan State, I wouldn't be shocked. But I'm going to pick Michigan State in this game. But like I said, I would not be shocked if Marquette actually won. Moving down to the bottom region, in the round of 32, Florida and UConn. That is the 1 versus the 8.
Give me the Gators.
Agreed.
And I had Florida and Oklahoma. Memphis and Maryland for me. I am going to go Maryland.
I'm going to stay Maryland too. And then you had Drake, didn't you?
Yep, Drake and Texas Tech. Give me...
I'm going to go Texas Tech.
Texas Tech. My pen is dying.
Oh, that's not good.
It is not.
And then the 7 and the 2, Kansas and St. John's.
St. John's for me.
I like that too. So I'm going to go St. John's. And then
going back to the top.
For a trip to the Elite Eight, Auburn and Michigan.
Auburn and Texas A&M for me.
That's right. That's right.
I'm going to go Auburn.
I am as well. And then who did you have?
Ole Miss and Michigan.
So I had Iowa State and Michigan State. Who are you picking in that one? I'm going to stay Iowa State.
I think I'm going to go Ole Miss over Sparty.
And so for the final 2 spots in the Elite Eight on this side of the bracket, 1 versus 4, Florida versus Maryland.
I'm going to go Florida.
I'm going to take that as well. And then Texas Tech
and St. John's.
I'm going to stay St. John's.
I think so too. St. John's, even when they are typically a lower seed, they know how to ball over there at St. John's, so I'm not worried about that. Auburn and Ole Miss for me. Give me the Tigers of Auburn.
This one's tough because there could be an upset here.
Very well could be.
So I'm honestly going to pick the upset and say Iowa State beats Auburn.
I took Auburn, so.
And then to meet Iowa State or Auburn in the Elite, or in the Final Four, I should say, Florida and St. John's in the Elite Eight.
As much as I like to root for St. John's, I think they're just going to be overmatched by Florida.
I think so.
So, SEC matchup in the Final Four, for me at least, Auburn and Florida.
I have Big 12 and SEC. All right, so between Auburn and Florida for you and Iowa State and Florida for me, who do you have in the national championship? Take your time.
Oh, I will. I don't know. I'm gonna go with Tigers. Just
respect. I'm gonna say Florida is too much for Iowa State in my bracket, so I'm gonna put Florida in the national championship. All right, moving to the other side of the bracket now. The 1 versus 16, Duke versus the winner of American and Mount St. Mary's.
Ooh.
I'm just gonna pick Mount St. Mary's on my bracket. So I have Duke versus St. Mary's, and I'm gonna take Duke.
Who is American though?
No idea.
I'm going to take them to win. And then lose to Duke.
So you have Duke winning that.
Yes.
Okay.
I had American winning their play-in game and then losing.
And then we have Mississippi State and Baylor, the 8 versus 9. I'm going to take Baylor.
I think I'm going to take Baylor too.
This seems like a safe bet to me. The 5 versus the 12, Oregon versus Liberty.
I'm going to take my Ducks. I know we were decent. I'm just hoping we can have a decent run in basketball. You're going upset, aren't you? You're going with Liberty.
I was going to pick the upset just to make you mad, but I do actually like Oregon in this one. All right, and then the 4 versus the 13, Arizona and Akron, U of A. I'm gonna roll U of A.
Yeah, Arizona.
The 6 versus the 11, BYU and VCU.
Who's VCU?
No idea.
Okay, BYU it is. Did you see where their heated football field, heated baseball, field, melted all that snow here recently so they could play a game?
No.
And then like outside of the baseball stadium is like mountains, and you could just see all the snow sitting on the mountains. Like it was pretty cool looking.
Never seen that.
All right, Wisconsin and Montana.
The 3 versus the 14.
I'm gonna go with the Big Ten. Wisconsin.
Agreed. And then the 7 versus the 10, St. Mary's and Vanderbilt. I'm going to go St. Mary's.
You're reading my mind.
The 2 versus the 15, Alabama and Robert Morris. Roll Tide.
Robert Morris is a really decent team. They play against PFW. They're in the same conference. So I want to say it would be a close game, but it really just depends on what team shows up for Robert Morris, because they can come out and be dogs, or they...
I think Alabama's still too much for them either way.
Me too, but you could only hope. Houston and SIU Edwardsville.
The 1 versus the 16 in the bottom quadrant.
Go ahead and give me Houston. I don't even got to think about that, I think.
Yep. The 8 versus the 9, Gonzaga and Georgia.
Give me Gonzaga.
I was going to say, I'm going to take Gonzaga as well. And then the 5 versus the 12, Clemson versus McNeese.
Who's McNeese? Give me the Tigers.
I have them winning as well.
Can y'all beat High Point?
Can I read the damn game? Damn.
My bad.
The 4 versus the 13, Purdue versus High Point.
Can you beat High Point? Who's High Point?
I don't know.
Oh. I don't like how you don't know most of these teams.
Not the schools that are lower majored, that don't get the big name.
You're supposed to be the college guy. Give me Purdue.
Yeah, I'll take my Boilers in that. But yes, we can, and we will.
They have more wins than you. And you guys haven't had the best of luck against lower seeds. Sorry.
Don't start. Don't start.
The
6 versus the 11, which would be the winner of San Diego State and North Carolina. North Carolina making the tournament is beyond me. I don't understand how they got in
I do know since they got in, IU did not.
I'm happy with that. But, like, at the same time, IU's resume was better in terms of quad one wins versus North Carolina. North Carolina went 1-12 in quad one games. So them making the tournament is kind of insane to me. I am still going to pick them in the play-in.
I think I'm going San Diego State.
That's fair. I don't blame you. I went back and forth with it.
If this is the team I'm thinking of, because keep in mind, I don't follow college basketball like that until this time. Aren't they the team that is like really pounding you on defense and getting turnovers? Didn't they do that last year?
Think so, yeah.
The Aztecs?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to go San Diego State. And then
I'm going to take North Carolina.
I'm going to take San Diego State to upset Illinois.
That's fair. You know what? I think I'm going to have the same thought as you, but for North Carolina. So I'm going to pick them over Illinois. And then moving down to the 3 versus 14 matchup, Kentucky versus Troy. That's going to be Kentucky.
Yep. Sorry, Troy, but nope.
And then the 7 versus 10 matchup, UCLA and Utah State.
I'm going to go Utah State.
I'm going to take UCLA. And then the 2 versus 15, Tennessee Volunteers and Wofford. I don't know their mascot. I'm going to take the Vols.
Yep, give me Tennessee.
Can Purdue have 1 year where Tennessee's not in our quadrant of the bracket? Holy God.
No.
This is insanity. Okay.
You'll be all right.
Back to the top, the 1 versus the 9 matchup, Duke and Baylor.
I don't know. I'm waiting on yours.
I'm taking Duke.
Is Cooper Flag playing?
I think even without Cooper Flag, they still win. So I'm going to roll Duke.
I'll take it.
And then the 5 versus 4 matchup for a trip to the Sweet 16, Oregon and U of A.
I'm going to take the Ducks.
This one's tough.
It is.
I'm going to take Arizona.
I bet you are.
I think they have a better squad.
Mm-hmm.
And then moving down to the 6 versus 3 matchup, BYU and Wisconsin.
Go ahead and give me the Badgers.
Yeah, I'm going to take Wisconsin as well. And then the 7 versus 2 matchup, St. Mary's and Alabama. Give me Alabama.
I'm going to go St. Mary's.
Really?
I'm going to go upset.
Fair enough. We have the...
Because St. Mary's is like another St. John's, if I'm remembering correctly. Like, they get into the madness and they catch fire. Whether
somebody
it's a
needs
game,
to be a Cinderella this year.
Whether it's a game, it's 2 games, they make some kind of run that people aren't expecting.
Yeah.
So
I respect it. I'm going to stay Alabama on that pick, though.
I get it. Houston and Gonzaga.
Down in the bottom quadrant now. I'm gonna take Houston.
I think I am too.
And then moving down to Clemson and Purdue.
Can y'all do it?
Anything can happen in March, man.
Yeah, but you guys haven't been playing the best lately.
We haven't. We haven't. As a diehard, I have faith.
All right. Purdue gets the upset.
I will say Purdue makes it to the Sweet 16 to face Houston.
And then they get obliterated.
San Diego State for you, North Carolina for me against Kentucky. The 11 versus 3 matchup. Who are you rolling? I'm going to take Kentucky.
Give me San Diego.
Okay. A lot of upsets being picked by you. Respect.
I like the upsets.
The 7-2 UCLA versus Tennessee.
This one is not an upset.
No. All right. Back to the top now. The 1 versus 4 for me, 5 for you. I have Duke versus Arizona. You have Duke versus Oregon.
Yeah, I think we're going to take a loss. If Cooper Flag isn't playing, I give us a chance. But if Cooper Flag's playing, I'm going to give it to Duke.
I'm going to give it to Duke over Arizona. I think that would be a great matchup, though. Man, that's really tough to pick, actually. I'm going to stay Duke on it, though. We're going to roll with the Blue Devils. The 3 versus 2, Wisconsin versus Alabama.
No. Wisconsin and St. Mary's.
I have Alabama.
I'm going to go Wisconsin, though. It's not going to be pretty for St. Mary's against these Badgers.
I have Alabama. And then moving down to the 1 versus 4, Houston and Purdue.
The funeral of Houston, Purdue.
I think I'm going to roll Houston on that one too. For a rebuild year, making the Sweet 16, though, is still considered pretty good for us. The 2 versus 3, Tennessee versus Kentucky to face Houston.
I have San Diego State in Tennessee.
Oh, that's fair.
And I think San Diego is going to lose. So Tennessee will move on to play Houston.
Yeah, I like Tennessee over Kentucky. And then for a trip to the Final Four, you have Wisconsin and Duke.
Yes.
I have Alabama and Duke.
I'm going to take Duke.
I'm going to take Alabama. And then Houston and Tennessee to face Alabama in the Final Four.
I'm going to take Tennessee.
Really?
Tennessee will play Duke. And for me, I think Tennessee will pull it off.
I'm going to pick Houston to beat Tennessee in the Elite Eight. So I have Alabama and Houston. That's hard. I'm going to give it to Houston. And I'm going to go with Florida over Houston in the national championship.
I'm going to go Auburn over Tennessee.
Not bad. Not bad. So I have Iowa State, Florida, Houston, and Alabama in my Final Four. And
Auburn, Florida, Duke, and Tennessee.
And I have Florida and Houston in the national championship, with Florida being the national championship winner.
Auburn and Tennessee, and the Tigers bringing it home.
Not bad.
Doesn't seem too bad.
But first round of the NCAA tournament kicks off this week, actually.
Tomorrow, I think. The playoff games started.
The first 4 in. Yeah, 3/18, so that's tomorrow.
3/18 and 3/19, and then I want to say the actual Madness tournament starts.
First round
20th?
is on Thursday.
So
It'll start Thursday and go through the weekend. So March Madness is here. It's one of my favorite times of the year. So I can't wait for the games to start, because I got like 3 different screens in multi-view the entire time. It's fantastic.
if we are sticking to schedule, we will be back not this Thursday, but next Thursday. We can come earlier than that. Be something we would have to discuss. I know some stuff has kind of changed for you availability wise. So we will let you guys know on social media when the next time we will be in to give you updates on these. So yeah, free agency out the way. Brackets are out the way.
Now it's just time for March Madness.
And then shortly after that, the NFL draft will be here, and yeah,
It's coming up. It's coming up quick.
We'll get picked up again with football, OTAs,
Training camps, all of it.
You're the college guy, mostly. I heard something about some top schools, bless you, some top schools possibly, bless you again, canceling their spring game. What's going on with that?
I haven't seen anything about that.
Are you familiar with that? Okay. Typically
that's new to me.
For the listeners, when do those spring games usually start? So they could keep an eye out.
I know like Purdue's spring game is like April 12th, I'm pretty sure. So it's like first week or so of April.
Okay. So definitely not too far. Just a little under a month from April 12th. And so, yeah. So really after March Madness, the football gears start grinding again, and we still got to at least come up with our first round mock draft or whatever we're doing for the NFL draft. And yeah, if you don't have anything else, I think that wraps up our show for tonight. We covered NFL free agency, signings, trades, all that fun stuff, and then we did our brackets with you guys if you filled them out with us. If not, we told you who we think's going to win and how our brackets are going to look out. So you can take some of the games we picked if you like them or not. But look, when you guys listen to this, let us know your comments, your thoughts. You can get a hold of us on Instagram, Twitter, Threads, comments in YouTube. And Brennan has recently made the Ready Football TikTok. So he's been posting some really good content over there, like top stadiums and all that, different uniforms. So make sure you go follow that. And what is the handle for the TikTok?
It is Ready Football Pod.
Ready Football Pod on TikTok. We are now on TikTok, and we're excited for you guys to come watch our videos, like them, and give us your feedbacks on the list that we come up with and post. Like our favorite stadiums, our favorite uniforms we've done of certain schools. And we will be posting a lot more. Let us know what you want us to like rate uniforms, color schemes, whatever. We will do it. So get with us in the comments, show us some love, and with that being said, I think we are out.
I think so. Till just after round of 64. And we'll be back to recap those, kind of get into... And honestly, if we're coming in Thursday, there will probably be games on Thursday, too, that we'll have on in here. So we'll be back to go through the round of 64, kind of look into the round of 32, and kind of see where our brackets stand from there. But March Madness is here, and, I mean, I'm excited for it. This is one of my favorite times of the year, just from how invested in this I get. I can't wait. So I'm excited, and I hope you guys are excited too. thank you for listening to us. It's good to be back after the little hiatus we took. So stay on the lookout for all the social media content. We'll be out there posting. Unless you got anything else, I think that's it.
No, I think I'm all good. So,
all right.
like we said, we will let you guys know on social media. So make sure you are keeping an eye out of when we will be back in the studio and recording for you guys. So, with that being said, we are out.
That's going to do it.
You guys have a good night here on this beautiful St. Paddy's Day. We didn't even mention that. It's a little chilly, but yeah. Happy St. Paddy's Day to everyone, and
we'll be back next Thursday.
Yeah, we'll be back, and look forward to talking to you guys again.